hope you are having a fabulous day. My name is Reggie, and today I'll be sharing with you a review of the book My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Fredrik Backman. I was sent this book from the publishers as part of BookTube tours. And so I first wanted to say thank you so much for sending them to me, Grace and BookTube Tours and Simon & Schuster. This book was marvelous. There is also a giveaway going on right now as part of this tour. So all of that information will be in the description bar below for the tours and the giveaway. I highly encourage you to enter this giveaway because this book was so marvelous. I tabbed the Wazoozies out of this book because I love this so much. So Fredrik Backman originally writes his novels in Swedish, so this is a translated book. So Henning Kosh translated this novel, and it is such a wonderful translation. I haven't read a translated book in a long time, but this was such a great job, and so I wanted to first give it up for the translator because well done. I mean, a bad translation can ruin a book, and this translation was done perfectly because this book still was written so beautifully, and a lot of that, of course, is Fredrik Backman, but a lot of that has to do with his translator's ability to translate that into a different language well and still get that same fluidity and style across. I believe the same translator works on all of Fredrik Backman's books, so that is a great sign because I am planning on picking up more of his books soon because I love this so much. But let's stop rambling and get into a synopsis so you know what this book is about. My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry, gosh that's a mouthful, follows our main protagonist, Elsa. Our protagonist, named Elsa, is 7 years old, and she is a very wise and mature 7-year-old. She pretty much looks up anything she doesn't know on Wikipedia. She has a word jar with her dad, which has provided her with such a huge vocabulary. She loves to read, her favorite books being fairy tales and Harry Potter, which is gold in my book. However, Elsa doesn't have any friends. She is bullied pretty viciously at school, and her best and possibly only friend is her grandma. And as the story starts, we find out that Elsa's grandmother is sick and dying. As can be expected, this is going to be a very emotional journey, and it is indeed that. In order to combat Elsa's very troublesome school life and kind of hectic home life, Granny, her grandmother, has created this very mythical and wonderful story for her, this world built up, and it's called the Land of Almost Awake. At night, they visit the Land of Almost Awake where there are kingdoms, and Elsa's a knight, and they can go on adventures and see fantastical creatures, and these fairy tales kind of distract her from the bullying and keep her grounded in the fact that in this world people don't have to be normal, and the fact that she's different is okay. And that is why her grandmother gives her these stories. One of the greatest things Fredrik does is creates vivid and bright and beautiful characters. Grandmother, for example, is so full of life and energy. She's kind of ridiculous. She's mad and eccentric. This is a woman who will stand on the balcony and use a paintball gun to take down her neighbors. And at the beginning of the story, we see Elsa and her grandmother have snuck into a zoo. They go on ridiculous adventures in their real life, and it's because her grandmother is so vibrant and full of life and zany. Elsa is another very well fleshed out character, but that's not where it ends. It's not just our main characters that Fredrik fleshes out. During the course of this book, and where our story kind of takes off, is when Granny gives Elsa a letter to deliver to one of her friends that says she's sorry. And as Elsa delivers that letter, she gets to know that person, and that person ends up finding a way to show her where the next letter is. And it's kind of this map that Elsa's figuring out by going to the next person. Oh, that's where that letter is. Finding the letter and giving it to the next person. And it's this trail that leads Elsa to get to know her grandma's friends and her neighbors, her mom better. She learns about her grandma even better, in fact, because Elsa knew her in this very unique way, in this special bond they had. And so Elsa is learning about her grandma's life from the past. And so, like I said, the story takes off as Elsa is running from person to person that was important in her grandma's life that her grandma felt she needed to say something to. We get to learn about those characters too so well, and they become so vibrant. And you're not just now attached to Elsa, but you are attached to all of these wonderful people, and they are also eccentric and different and wonderful, and we grow attached to a lot of them, if not all of them, in very different and wonderful ways. Fredrik also has a beautiful writing style. It is so wonderful, and like I said, I hugely commend his translator for making sure his words speak through in another language. Well done. But it is just so beautifully written and so beautifully constructed, and the thoughts are wonderful. As many of you know, I lost my grandfather last month, and it's been really rough, and I was really close to him in a very special and unique way. I was able to grieve with this book, and of course my experiences as a 20-something going through this, and Elsa's experiences 7-year-old going through this, are wildly different, but the amount of similarities I saw in her story, and the reasons she connected to her grandma, and the reasons she was upset, and the emotion she was having, and the anger and the sadness and the confusion she felt, I got that. It took Elsa a really long time to come to terms with what happened and to move on from that. And that's exactly how it's been for me, is that I found out the news, I went and I helped make arrangements and make things happen. I helped people through what immediate tasks they needed to get through, and then I had to come home and I had to come back to work, and I haven't paused since, and this book forced me to pause and think and feel, and I'm so grateful for that. There are books that just find you in the right time of your life, and for me, this book was that. And that's the thing about books, is we're so lucky as readers to find books we enjoy and that entertain us and that teach us about life and teach us about others and teach us about empathy. It's more rare to find a book that teaches us about ourselves. So when we do, we connect to them and they become so special to us. It's just what I needed when I need it, and there's something so special about reading books at the right time, and when they come along in your life right when you need them, they become something so incredibly special for you. So thank you, incredibly special book, for being that for me. At its core, I would say this book is about death and grief, but also acceptance, not just acceptance of death, but acceptance of yourself and the people around you and the situations you can and cannot control. I think this is a book about the wonderful moments in life and the moments that make you laugh and the moments that hurt and the moments that make you sad, and how they're both okay and how they're both worth it. And I think this is just a beautiful story, and I'm so grateful that I got to read it, and I highly recommend you guys read it too. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. Like I said, one of my favorite books of the year. And if you've read this book, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. But if you haven't, go ahead and let me know what you think if you're interested in reading this. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like I said, check out the giveaway, because I really think this is worth your effort in trying to win a copy of this book. So I will see you in my next video. Bye!